Welcome to Study Time, a televised home learning program produced by Rwanda Education Board.
Hello, welcome learners to our TV learning programs. As usual, I'm Teacher Julius. I don't know if you remember my names. I'm Teacher Julius, and today I'm going to learn with Senior 3 students, Entrepreneurship. And we are still on our Unit 5, which we started sometime back, which is sectors of production. And our today's lesson will be tertiary sector. Then at the end of this lesson, I expect you to be knowing some of these. I expect you to be knowing or to be able to explain the tertiary sector of production, and I expect you to be able to analyze or assess or give the importance of the tertiary sector of production, knowing the contribution of the tertiary sector of production. So this one will bring us to the end of this unit, Unit 5, as the sectors of production. We shall wind up this unit with this, the third sector of production, which is tertiary sector of production. Learners, before I tackle this, before we go through this tertiary sector, I want us to first go through where we began from this Unit 5. I said that, that we have 3 sectors of production. We have the primary sector, that's what we said, these sectors of production. We said we have the primary sector, you remember? The primary sector of production, we talked about it. We said we have the secondary sector of production, and now this is the third one, which is the tertiary sector of production. So before we continue, I want someone to define, what did we say that production is? We said that production refers to the creation of goods and services to satisfy human needs. The manufacture of goods and services to satisfy human needs. We have the sectors of production, and we began with the primary sector, you remember, where we said it involves the direct use of natural resources. Basically, the extraction of raw materials, the extraction of raw materials. And we said that the primary sector of production entails or it involves many activities. Where we have agricultural farming, we talked about that. Where we said the primary sector also involves fishing, as you can read. And we said that it also involves livestock farming, mining and quarrying, plus lumbering. All those ones are activities that are done under the primary sector of production. So we talked about briefly on the advantages. We talked about the advantages of primary sector of production to the economy of Rwanda, where we said, as you can go through what we talked about, where we said it is a source of food for human consumption, hence improving people's standards of what? Standards of living. The primary sector is very important because it is the first sector which deals with extraction of raw materials, then it is a source of food. For example, talk about fishing. We get fish, which acts as food. Talk about agriculture, livestock farming, where we get milk, where we get food in agriculture, food crop farming, and we consume. So it's also food for human consumption, hence improving people's standards of living. We said it provides employment opportunities to the people. For example, if you set up, we said if you set up like a livestock farming, you need to employ some people to help you graze your animals, to help you take milk to the dairy. Those people, will give them jobs. So it is a source of employment opportunities. And we said that it is a source of medicine, like some forest plantations contain various trees which are medicinal plants. Under primary production, we said we have also plantation, we have forestry plantation. We talked about that. Source of raw materials that are used in secondary sector production or manufacturing sector. Because you must know that in the primary sector, we extract raw materials. These raw materials, we take them to the secondary sector or manufacturing sector, and we get finished products. I think you can remember that under the primary sector of production. So we can continue. We talked about the secondary sector of production. I'm just going through what we talked about. The secondary sector of production. What did we say, learners? The secondary sector of production, we said it is the same as the manufacturing sector. We said it is the same as the manufacturing sector. Meaning that with the secondary sector of production, it involves transformation, changing the raw materials from primary sector into finished what? Into finished products ready for consumption. Here you must note that we said the sector adds value. There is some value added to what is extracted from primary sector. You get the point? There is some value added to the raw materials extracted from the primary sector of production. Then we continued under the secondary sector of production, where we talked about some of the forms. What do we find under the secondary sector? We talked about agropastoral industry, where we said agropastoral industry here, it is the transformation of animal raw materials into same or finished food products, where we talked about examples of raw materials from animals used in the agro industry. We talked about milk, meat, hides and skins, horns, etc. Milk will be raw material from livestock. So with agropastoral industry, we are transforming, we are changing the raw materials from these animals into finished products. For example, milk can be transformed into yogurt. We can have butter. So we have examples of agropastoral industries. We said we have Inyanje Industries. You know what Inyanje produces? We have very many products. It uses milk, then it manufactures for us yogurt, and we drink, which improves our diet. Then we have even Nyirangarama Industry. Also uses some raw materials from animals, like also milk, and manufactures or gets us some yogurt. So that is agropastoral industry. We also talked about, you can see those diagrams, ghee and fresh cream, sausage processing. You can check this, how they are manufactured using raw materials from animals to get us finished products which we can consume. I know most of you are fans to this. We all like it. Then we continued and talked about agrofood processing industry. Agrofood processing industry, whereby we said agrofood processing industries transform agricultural products into finished food products. Such agrofood processing industries process crops and fruits into processed goods like maize. Maize is processed into maize flour. Fruits are processed into juice. And examples still here, we have Nyirangarama Industries, Inyanje Industries. Still they use raw materials, they use fruits, and they manufacture or they make for us juice. You know this juice, mango, you remember them, akarosho, all those ones. You can use, they use fruits, and then they make all that. So that is under manufacturing sector. We talked about even, so that is a diagram that shows how, I think you can see this gasha fruit juice, meaning maize into flour. You can check that. Then we talked about the third one, which is the handcraft industry. The handcraft industry under the manufacturing sector or the secondary sector, this one is where production or manufacturing is done manually, and there is no use of automated machines. Here it does not involve using machines, heavy machines. No. It is made. This one involves use of hands. So this mainly involves making a piece of work by hand. For example, weaving baskets, pottery, and carving industry. We have some examples. You can check these diagrams here. You can check these diagrams. These are three ladies. Are you seeing them? handcraft. They are trying to do what you call weaving. I think now you can understand. Those people who don't know what weaving is, now weaving is this. From this diagram you can know. Weaving baskets. You see these three women are busy manufacturing a basket by using hands. There are no big machines that they are using, you can see. So the handcraft industry. They are using raw materials, you can check. These are raw materials which may be gotten from swamps, papyrus, and they use those raw materials from primary, then they manufacture these baskets. And now this is secondary sector. They are transforming those raw materials into finished products. You can see. Then we have this pottery. See, this is very interesting now. You see this lady here. You see what she has manufactured, pottery. She's using clay as raw material to manufacture or to make these pots. So how can we call these? Are they pots? You can see. Which can be used for decoration sometimes, which can be for, these ones even they maintain our culture. They maintain our culture. These things can be used for decoration. They're used in different areas. So this is handcraft industry, whereby the work that is done is just by use of hands. Is by use of what? Of hands. So here I expect you to be recording what is done under primary sector of production, what is done under manufacturing sector or the secondary sector of production. Now the third one, the third sector of production is here, which is the tertiary sector, and the one that we are going to end with. This, after finishing this, then it will come to the end of this unit number 5. I said by the end of this, today's lesson, you should be able to explain tertiary sector and analyze the importance of the tertiary sector of production. So, if we can continue, so let's see what tertiary sector of production is. Let's see what tertiary sector of production is. Someone with some knowledge, you can tell us what tertiary sector of production is. So you can read from there. We are saying the tertiary sector involves provision of services to consumers and businesses. So what do we find now? What do we find if we say, before I give you that, what do we say, what do we find under tertiary sector? Since it involves the provision of, so let's continue with our tertiary sector, whereby we are saying that the tertiary sector involves the provision of services to consumers and businesses. So now, after knowing that the tertiary sector involves the provision of services to consumers, what do we find under this? What do we find under this? So I want you to know that examples that we have under tertiary sector, we have education services, banking and insurance, we have medical services, we have communication services, we have transportation, we have entertainment, financial and warehousing. All these services facilitate trade. Actually, this is what you call aids to trade. You know what you call aids to trade. You all studied this, aids to trade. Aids to trade, these ones we find them in the tertiary sector. Services that facilitate trade to go on smoothly. Services, aids to trade services that facilitate trade. So for trade to go on smoothly, you must be having these services, because with the banking services, they help, they play a very big role in the business sector, medical services, communication, transportation, entertainment, financial, and warehousing. All these ones are aids trade, and they help in the production of goods and services. So let us look at the importance of the tertiary sector. Is tertiary sector very important? We looked at the importance or significance of primary sector, secondary sector, and now let's see if the tertiary sector is also important. What does it contribute to the development of our economy of the country? One, we can go together. It provides financial services to the public. It provides financial services to the public. Learners, you must understand that under the tertiary sector, we have banking, banks, financial institutions, which accept deposits and give credit to the public. So the financial services are very important. First of all, with like financial institutions, they provide loans to the businessmen, to the public for investment, and that boosts our economy. Because when you are given a loan, you establish an enterprise, you establish a business, you give people jobs. The country gets more exports. The export trade is enhanced. So the tertiary sector is very important. So with the banking sector, which provides the banking financial services to the public, is very, very important. Next we have, it enables entrepreneurs to carry out business with less fear or losses. For example, in this we have insurance. We have insurance. So with insurance, it helps to insure or to cover losses that may be incurred by businessmen. When you start up a business, even a transport service business, you have bought your vehicles, you have to insure them, such that in the case of any problem, any loss, then you are compensated. So we have the insurance sector under the tertiary sector, which helps people to insure their different businesses, and therefore they can carry out their trading activities with less fear of losses. You have to also look at this. It facilitates communication. In this way, it opens up different, it may open up in different parts of the country. Learners, you must know communication is very important. So what is communication? Who can define for me or for us communication? So the exchange of information between two parties. The exchange of information between two parties. In any dealing, you must know that in any dealing, communication is very important. So you studied this. You covered effective communication. So communication in business is very vital. It's very important because if you don't communicate on time, you may incur losses, you may lose opportunities. So communication is very important. And with communication, it may even involve advertising goods, giving out policies and orders in your business, of which that eventually makes your business prosper. We have this one, improvement, our next point, in the quality of life for the services rendered, such as health, education, information technology, that enabled human empowerment, in skill development in sports. Please, I want you to know, how does the tertiary sector improve the quality of life? One, under tertiary sector, we have said we have health services. We have health what? Services. You get sick, you go to the hospital, then they give you a medicine, you get fine. So here, and even, medical health facilities, they give us some advice on how you can feed so that your body can develop very well. You know that. So that improves the quality of life. Are we together? So the tertiary sector is very important. It preserves and promotes development of culture in cultural activities or services like recreation, entertainment, radio and TV broadcasting. Under tertiary sector, we have all those ones. So with media, because here this is kind of media, it helps in culture preservation, whereby you may look at maybe the way how people used to dress, they can broadcast that. and very many conversations about culture, about everything. And that helps to promote development of culture. Then we have our next point, whereby we are saying it facilitates the development of trade with services like advertising. So trade, remember I've said these are aids to trade. They facilitate, they help aids. This is to help. We are not talking about the other aids, no. This is helping trade. So they help trade to go on smoothly, to be carried out in a conducive environment. So facilitate the development of trade with services like advertising. You know the importance of advertising? Advertising makes the public to know what is available for purchasing in the business. It creates awareness to the customers. And remember, when it comes to advertising, we have persuasive advertising and informative advertising, whereby if the public is informed about what you have in the business, they will come and buy. We have warehousing. Warehousing, we shall talk about it in the next unit, which is customs procedures. So warehousing is very important. Like importers, when they buy their goods and they bring them, these goods are stored in big stores as they carry out what you call customs declaration processes. And after, then they are allowed to take them. We have warehouses like Majerba, that is a warehouse for the government. We shall talk about those in details. We have transportation, movement of goods and people from one place to another. We have banking, which act as aids to trade. I think you can see that facilitate the exchange and delivery of goods from one place to another. So you can now raise, you should be in a position even now to raise more. What could be more importance, significance of tertiary sector? It even creates employment opportunities. It creates employment opportunities. The tertiary sector, it creates employment opportunities. Employment opportunities. You can add more of these points. It creates employment opportunities to the public. To the public. Because if you're working in transport, you set up some vehicles, transport people, you need to employ some people to drive them. So it provides employment opportunities. It even widens what you call the tax base of the country. It widens the tax what? The tax base. What is the tax base? From taxation, tax base. These are items, a range of activities that are subjected to taxation. And therefore, if the tax base of a country widens, that increases what you call tax revenue for public expenditure. So it widens the tax base, which increases tax revenue, for public expenditure. And here when you say public expenditure, this is how the government spends its money it gets from taxes. For example, public expenditure, the government constructing roads, constructing schools, constructing hospitals, that would be public expenditure, or even paying what you call the public debts, paying the public debts. So you can see how the tertiary sector is very important. So before I finish up, I want to leave you with 1 or 2 questions which you must work upon, as your assignment. So your question 1, I want you to explain the sectors of production. Question 2, I want you to analyze the contribution the contributions of the tertiary sector, to the economy, of the tertiary sector to the economy. So I want you to work out these two questions. You explain the sectors of production. You analyze the contributions of the sector, of the tertiary sector to the economy. That will be the importance. How important is it? How significant is it? I think those two questions are really not very hard for you guys from what we have covered right away from when we commenced this unit. Make sure you work it out, and we meet in the next session or in the next unit next time. Thank you very much. Stay cool.